Are you about to watch this video and you're not liked and subscribed to it? Like the video, please. Just go down. It's right there. It's right there.
I did. I hit it. I hit it. Have you hit it?
Welcome back to Starting
Let's
Nine.
go.
Episode 284. The League Championship Series round is set. And it is the exact same shit as last year, except for the Boston Red Sox, who played possum in a Mickey Mouse season and secured the best prospect in the Major League Baseball draft, only to then, in a rebuild year, Dallas, gain entry to the see if you can beat the Astros to get to the World Series challenge, which is now half a decade running. Houston Astros are going back. The Atlanta Braves are going back. And now, after last night, we have learned. And credit to Gabe Kapler, by the way, because I know that the internet exploded over a blown call on a check swing, and that's the final out of the ball game. Giants lose, their season's over, 1-run ball game. Gabe Kapler was like, yeah, I mean, like, you can be disappointed about that, but there's multiple reasons why we lost that game. And it had nothing to do. I mean, that's one reason, but there are a multitude of reasons why we lost that game.
And if you want to go back, don't we remember the series earlier in the year between the Dodgers and the Giants?
Yes. Yep.
Darren Ruff. Was
that in Dodger Stadium?
Huge check swing. Yeah. If he hit it, it would have been a grand fucking slam. Okay. And Giants won that game, didn't they?
Yeah. So it's history.
And so if they win
itself.
that game, and that's one game that they won due to some fuckery, well, wouldn't it stand that we all believe that somehow, some way, baseball evens itself out? This stuff shakes itself out. And like Gabe Kapler said, just happens to be the last call of the game. This is the last call of the game.
Yeah.
So fucking wear it.
Yeah. The Los Angeles Dodgers are moving on with 110 wins, and they've eliminated the 109-win San Francisco Giants. Hell of a year. I mean, we had the discussion about, which series deserves to be 7 games. That one, Dodgers Giants, when you have, and Vince Scully called it the most important game in the history of the Dodgers Giants rivalry. I think it would be hard to disagree with that. When you have those two teams with the regular seasons that they had.
Well, it's not even that. It's not even that. These two teams, Jared, for so long have represented the hurdle for each other. And this is a different type of hurdle here. Like, this isn't necessarily a hurdle. This is the brick wall, or this is the mountain. Like, the hurdle you clear to get to where you want to be. Like, this is standing in the way of. You got to go through this. You got to go through this team now in the postseason. Like, it's a battle for it. It had been a battle for the division for how long? And with only one wild card, that meant something. And now, when you're standing in the way of a team, either winning that potential wild card spot or not winning the division, like, there's room for some bad blood to develop there. And that's how things have gone. So now these two teams square off for the first time in postseason history. And you will, like, it's quite literally the path to October runs through, boom. Well, last night it ran through San Francisco in San Francisco.
It did. And I'm honestly, man.
I mean, you got Max Scherzer screaming down the throat of Dave Roberts, shit-faced 33 seconds after throwing the final pitch, and that's happening on your field. A shirtless Max Scherzer is just losing his mind on your yard.
2 days rest. I know it was only 1 inning, but I believe they said on the broadcast, 0 major league saves. Had never been in that situation before.
First ever professional save.
Professional save. He comes out there. I mean, if you watched him warm up.
Oh, God.
And without, I mean.
Jared, you ever been to a rodeo?
Pacing. Yeah, like the bull, like waiting to get out of the cage.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. He's rattling around. Like, who's getting on that? Nobody wants to fucking get on that. You want me to tie into that?
No.
Probably not. No.
He was done throwing his warm-up pitches and he was just pacing around the bullpen, just like, let me in there. I need to rip these dudes' throats out. Like, you didn't know if he was coming in to pitch in a Major League Baseball game or fight a lion with his bare hands.
The scene that I wanted was him to run like just running into the wrong door, like the wrong portion of the bullpen. Like, I can't get at it.
Just rip the door
to
off.
Watch it fucking snap. Like, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna scale the wall? Will he just go, like, I don't know if you remember The Rock, but he like got locked out of his property, and the dude just ripped the fucking electronic gate off the mount in the front of his house.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The Rock got
Dwayne Johnson?
Yes. Got locked, like was locked out of his property and got out and ripped the fucking electronic gate off the hinge. It was like, I'll just go through it now. Like, that's what I would envision Max Scherzer doing, like just ripping out an entire section of chain link and just like throwing it off his hand out. Like, what the fuck is this? I'm gonna get off me, and just sprinting out. It is epic. It was epic. But I mean, that's what October does, is it gives you the opportunity to experience these moments. It gives baseball players, teams, the moments to let these characters continue to, I don't want to say be born, because the legend of Max Scherzer is just continuing to grow now. You heard Trey Turner say it, like, watching guys watch him in the clubhouse for the first time is so cool, because Trey Turner's gotten to watch this song and dance for a while now together in Washington. So he sees him come over and make this kind of impact this quickly. I mean, it helps when you win every fucking start you make for the team you get traded to. That helps.
Except for the game 3.
And now here he is. Like, he's doing everything you could. Like, Max Scherzer just continues to be the poster boy for do your homework when you're coming into that. Like, do we sign this guy to an extendo, and how big? Max Scherzer's the poster boy for it working out.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably one of the only examples of it working out. Like,
that's why I say poster boy, because I'm sure there are other ones, dude. But I mean, that guy, like, come on.
Yeah. Especially for pitchers. Like, there are position players where extensions have worked out or whatever. But as far as big money contracts go, to starting pitchers approaching the back end of their career, like when you're approaching your 30s or in your 30s, your early 30s, that's a guy that he's number one on that list. But be honest, I'm not saying it's not a belief or a disbelief in Max Scherzer that I'm asking you about. It's the moment kind of calls for this type deal. Did you think Max Scherzer was going to close out that game? Did you think maybe a Brandon Crawford runs into one, little change up, gets too much of it runs in too much middle, and now Brandon Crawford's put one in the goddamn ocean? We got a tie ball game.
You want to know when that answer came about, if I'm being honest? So yes, I absolutely believed Max Scherzer the minute that Gratterall got ran out there in the second.
Yeah.
Or the second, or
this is
the
the second.
The second?
Yeah.
That for me told me, all right, look, everybody's slotting up here, and you bet your ass that lunatic is coming into this game. You bet your ass. And that was just a done deal for me. That was a done deal. And if you go back and look at the fastball that he blew by Brandon Crawford, like, it was up, I think it was like up and in.
The one that he fouled back?
No, like, I think I don't know if, did he foul it back? He swung and missed.
So on the broadcast, they said, oh, he blew a fastball by him, but he fouled it back. I was like, you can't say he blew it by him if you got a piece of it.
I'm trying to remember which, because are you sure?
96 up and in. So
he was beat there, and his reaction, I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. This is Maxie's here. This is Maxie's. Lamont Wade, I even had it typed out on my phone. It was going to be the first tweet I was going to send. And it said, if you don't get this all the way in, this is going to go all the way into the Bay. And
oh yes, that was the one that almost ran a little bit and he pulled it foul and it hit off the wall foul.
Right. But then and it's because I watched Lamont Wade do that multiple times. Like, there must be an adjustment that he's made, because people, for whatever reason, maybe it's a Matt Olson effect. Like, they see something where they think, I can attack right here, because they continue to go there and he continues to fucking hurt people there. And it might be a case of them leaking over the middle and then him just absolutely pulverizing mistakes, whatever. But I thought for sure late night Lamont is about to do it right now. It's about to happen.
That entire inning, the dynamic almost changes drastically. I mean, we're talking like centimeters away, because the 0-2 changeup that Scherzer threw to Crawford that he kind of just served into left field.
Yeah, that was
hung up there forever. I thought for sure that was either dropping in front or it was going down the line. It hung up there forever.
You want to know what that is? That's adrenaline. Yeah, that's adrenaline. That's max. Because there's such thing as throwing through the movement at times, and sometimes you just don't. You know, for whatever reason, out of the hand at release, it's just a little different, and there's a little more on it than you would like. And it's like, ooh, like I used to have that problem, believe it or not, Jared, trying to get to 90 and like fucking hump up, and then it's just like flat. It's like, well, it's flat in 89 instead of like 87 with a little finish on it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you know? It's not sinking by any means, but it's kind of moving. But when you try to throw it 90, asshole, it just ends up flat. Now you're fucking backing up third.
Yeah. And I'll say this, because I know that there are Giants fans listening right now. There are Dodger fans listening right now. You don't want to hear from Dallas one way or the other on this, because he's biased. He's compromised. He was rooting for the Giants to fail.
No. I put out Giants merch, Jared.
Oh yeah. You're a grifter, which is even worse.
It felt so good. It felt so good. Yeah. I needed that. I absolutely fucking needed that.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. Would I have had an issue with the Giants winning? No, of course not. They had an outstanding season. 107 victories. They won the division. They fought off the Giants. I mean, they fought off the Dodgers all year long. But at the end of the day, if you were to ask me objectively, which team is better, of course I would have told you that the Dodgers are better. The Giants finished one game ahead of them. They won the division fair and square. They beat them in the season series head to head. And now they had the chance to do that one last time in the division series. And it came down to one game that was decided by one run. It was very, very, very close as it pertains to head-to-head competition and what the records were. But when you look at the talent on paper, when you look at the run differential, when you look at the actual statistics of what they did as individuals, if you were to ask me, and most baseball fans would give you the same answer, which team is the better team? They would say the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are the team that's moving on.
Here's what we saw. The depth of the Dodgers against an analytical approach, an analytical plug and play approach, combined with a ton of feel with Gabe Kapler's staff. They have done an incredible job of positioning themselves to maximize their roster. That doesn't happen by accident. All right. Like, and I hope people understand, like, I've been, if you just go back and listen to everything that I've been talking about with the Giants fans, one thing you need to remember, at no point in time have I told you that you have shitty players. At no point in time have I told you that you don't have a staff that doesn't know what they're doing. At no point in time have I given you any real reason for me to not believe in your team other than I told you way back when that you weren't going to win the division. That's the only reason we've done the song and dance that we've done, Giants fans. because it's let's just remember something. Your pitching coach, the rookie of the year, well, we're on the same team then. Boom Boom, as he's known.
39 alumni
in circles. And your manager, well, it's a dude I played against for a while. Your general manager, well, that's a guy who was Billy Bean's fucking intern. It felt like Farhan is a goddamn genius. Farhan was in Oakland quite a while. I spent many a night, many a third inning working out right next to Farhan. Know all about what these dudes are all about. Like it's not lost on me why the success is what it is. And it took what I was talking about at the very beginning to happen for you guys to get here, which was those veterans doing what they did and the flyer guys doing what they did. But when you combine all that, you've got a great recipe for success. And so what you think about is this is a team who was expected to win 75, 80 ball games, somewhere in that neighborhood. And you go out and win 106. Like, you got to believe that that's a large enough gap between expectation and what actually happened, that the middle ground is not going to be an 85 win team. Maybe you'd like to think that this is a team that's going to be able to compete moving forward. So
do you think they can build off this, or do you think that this was a flash in the pan season because you got a lot of contributions from veteran guys that you can't necessarily count on that repeating in like next year?
That's just using your head, Jared. That's all that is. That's not a biased take one way or the other. That's just player X, player Y, player Z are this old, that old, and this old. And hold on, did they just have their career years or like very close?
We're talking Crawford, we're talking Belt, we're talking Posey, we're talking Longoria.
So
and KB is a free agent.
If that's the case, like, damn, I don't know that we can bank on that happening again. If
you can't, like, I think it's not even really a take. Like that it's not going to happen again next year. Like, Chris Bryant is a free agent. Am I ruling out Chris Bryant returning to the Giants? No,
listen to this hate Giants fans come out of Jared.
Well, right, I also just don't think that Chris Bryant he's not the reason. He was an annexation to a team that was already in first place and had the best record in baseball. He wasn't the reason why they took off or why they sustained it. He actually wasn't really that great down the stretch. So, yeah, like losing him to free agency, okay, whatever. Brandon Belt, a guy like Brandon Crawford, a guy like Buster Posey, and then, the narrative of, did him opting out in 2020 help him stay fresh in 2021? Okay, well, when 2022 rolls around, will having played as much as he did in 2021 hurt him in 2022? It's a fair question to ask. So I'm not. It's a
more than fair question to ask, especially when we're talking about what roles they played in their success.
Yeah, I just think that it's, while we can acknowledge that the Dodgers had the better team, the Dodgers will be back next year and the year after and the year after and the year after. That's just the organization that they have. Yeah. They have built a conveyor belt of talent that just never stops producing talent, and they never lose the ability to sign free agents, to sign international superstars, to draft and develop, to use the pieces within their organization to go out and trade for pieces that they've identified as pieces moving forward that can help them win championships. So the Dodgers will be back. That's why, on one hand, you can acknowledge, yes, the Dodgers are better. Is it a sham? Is it like some sort of farce that they're moving on? No, of course not. But man, does it suck to see the Giants season end the way that it did, in the series that it did, given all the circumstances that we're talking about here, in terms of, like, you kind of had to win it this year, because if you didn't, it's gonna take a little bit to kind of plug in some other pieces.
Did he go? Yeah, he did.
So he did. That's not cool.
Let's put in perspective. The Dodgers started the games. Excuse me. Let me rewind. because they didn't. The Dodgers harbored
Mhm.
the game's only 20-game winner. Major League Baseball's only 20-game winner. He's on the Dodgers.
Mhm.
He came in the third fucking inning yesterday.
He did.
Okay. That's the difference right there. That right there is the difference.
Can I say something?
Please.
Okay. I have a confession to make, Dallas.
What's your confession?
I don't hate this becoming like a regular thing.
Well, what you got to do is you have to understand why the Dodgers did this.
Well,
and you have to understand.
You're switching up the lineup. You're switching up the lineup. Sure.
It's not about that. It's about the lineup. And here's trust me. I've been telling you for how long that Gabe Kapler and the Giants maximize their roster, their bench more than anybody in baseball. I've been telling you that all fucking year. All year long, I've been talking about that. And what you have in the Dodgers is a guy who has done both and has succeeded in doing both, meaning starting, coming out of the bullpen, starting in the postseason, coming out of the bullpen in the postseason. To be able to have that under your belt as far as experience goes, especially when you are all of 24 years old. How this kid was pitching in the postseason at 19. Okay. Urias, like, the dude is seasoned already. So just think about this. As a starter for Julio Urias, he has a opponents are hitting 233 against him. As a reliever, 197. This is in his career. OBP, 294 as a starter. As a reliever, 278. Slugging, 359 against him as a starter. As a reliever, 279. OPS, 653 as a starter. As a reliever, 557. So then you dive into it just a little deeper. And this isn't maybe what the Dodgers were doing. Maybe it is what the Dodgers were doing. But you think about the days of rest that Julio Urias was going on. Regular turn, having already pitched. So that's 4 days rest, right? As a starter throughout the season, you're typically going to make your starts on 4 days rest or a day off in there, 5 days rest. You're either staying on turn or getting an extra day. Well, on 4 days rest as a starter, 3.37 ERA for Julio Urias. Okay. Successful. No problem. 4 days of rest as a reliever, Jared. That means he's going to come into the ball game having not pitched for 4 days. As a reliever, he's only done that 9 times, but he's got a 1.29 ERA during that time, 21 innings over that span. So then you think about, when did Urias come into the ball game? Well, he came in third inning. So late. He came in on 4 days rest in a relief role. So those numbers tend to favor him.
And he's starting with the bottom of the order.
And thank you, Jared. In the fucking, how many times is he facing these guys, and where is he being slotted in? Okay. It's just, if you ever thought you had the makings or the resources to deploy this is like America's Navy SEALs, almost like the specialized, trained, like nobody else is featuring this. Like nobody else is featuring this. I understand you guys got some fucking missiles you're a fan of. Maybe you got some trained special forces dudes that you really like. They can hold their breath really long. That's cool. They're not Navy SEALs. They're just not. And it feels like Julio Urias is that dude. And he allowed Corey Knebel to do what he did. He allowed Brusdar Graterol to get expended in the second inning of a game 5. Are you fucking kidding me? You're not starting the only man to win 20 games in the big leagues? No, we're good. We've got a better idea. What?
So that's why I kind of love it. Just not just in like a do or die game 5 or a game 7 or
you got to have the weaponry though. You got to have the weaponry.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. But I feel like teams can build that. Like good teams will be able to do that.
Well, Jared, this is what I talked about with your Bo Sox, my friend, is what I tell you about Alex Cora. Nothing that you don't know. He's going to manage the games to win. He's going to manage outside the box if he has to. Like Nick Pivetta. I mean, come on.
And he did it with Tanner Houck as well. Yeah. They've got multiple guys. And I said that I fucking said that when people are talking about, oh, the Red Sox bullpen and this
that
and that.
that is being
Buster Olney. Buster Olney went on radio in Boston before the wild card game and was talking about how the Yankees have the edge because of their bullpen. I was like, sir, you just named a bunch of bums and you left off their best relievers.
Now, okay, let me ask you this. Not admit. And it's great that you have Buster. Since you just dropped the Buster, let me go this route. Jared, wouldn't you agree that wouldn't you agree that the Boston Red Sox utilizing Nick Pivetta in that situation or in these situations has really been born more so out of necessity than strategery, if you will? Because like I just kind of laid out with the Dodgers, it was an organizational thing. They took votes and they were like, we've got a couple different ways we can go here. And we are really confident, frankly, in either one of them. But do we want to put our balls on the table right now? And do we really want to stand behind the strategy that we think we can apply and that we think is going to separate us? Do we want to do that right now? All in favor? Julio, you're going into the third.
Yeah. I just think that, when you're talking about a reliever in the first inning and a reliever in the second inning, and then you put your starter in there against the bottom of the order, if things work out that way, it just makes so much more sense. Because even if you do have these power arms, because you're going to be still saving your closer for the high leverage spots in the 8th or the 9th inning. But I mean, it's almost like teams are not, it's human nature to not have the same urgency or the same intensity in the first inning that you would in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Like once it's like, oh shit, we're down by 2. We really gotta lock it in now because we could actually lose this game. Like teams are not playing with the same focus and urgency and intensity in the first inning as they are when they're down by a couple runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So
your fate is in your hand.
Yeah,
those last 3 outs. That's why those feel so much different.
And that's why in those first 2 innings, if you are to deploy a reliever, it's like, yeah, I mean, we don't have to go with our bullpen ace in these 2 innings. Like we can go get our 7th, 8th inning guy or our 6th inning guy and try to just get out. It's like you're trying to count outs is what you're trying to do so that you can get to your starter, so that once you get to those situations where if your starter gives you 4 2/3 or whatever, if you can get your starter to start the game in the 3rd, like you're covering some of those high leverage outs later in the ball game that you would normally have to worry about if your starter falters. If your starter doesn't give you 6 or 7, well, now you're kind of scrambling to find some less talented relievers to get those outs in the 6th and the 7th. Those are pretty big outs at the time because time's running out, but now you're just kind of like pushing everything up. Like it to me, it makes, there's no way that you'd be able to do it for all 162. You would probably have to pick your spots, but it makes more sense when you're because like the only reason why people are so resistant to it now is because everyone is just set to a certain way with the game of baseball. It's like, well, you have your starter, then you have your relievers. And it's like, okay, but what if it made more sense to do this? And then you've got the people complaining about analytics and like, oh, they're trying to ruin the game of baseball. And that's not the game that I grew up loving. I love baseball and you're trying to ruin my damn baseball game. It's like, well, it still is a game, right? And every game has strategy. And over time, the game's been around for over 100 years.
Well, just the simple idea that
after 100 years, maybe there would be some new thinkers that are putting things in place. It's like, well, what if you tried this?
We still got one of those guys kicking around in the league. He's managing the Chicago White Sox. He was like, you know what? Instead of you fucking going 3 innings, how about 1? And instead of you starting the fucking ball game, I'm just going to use you at the end, just 1 time. 1 inning, and then I'll run you out there tomorrow. I'll fucking run you out there the day after that. How about that? Fuck that. I know Raleigh Fingers is super sexy because he was out there 3 innings at a time, shoving it up people's ass for the last part of the ball game. That's great. But Tony La Russa was like, you know what? Let's attack this a little differently. So that's what it takes is just guys to buy into the evolution. But that's why I said what I said and kind of peeled back a little on Julio Urias, is because you got to have the dude that's capable of doing all that.
So I wanted to say this about all this, because I know that there are baseball fans probably rolling their eyes at the idea of warming up to like an idea like this. But there's a drastic difference when people, when it's almost like people associate analytics with change and thinking outside the box. So they see something like this.
It's just like, a buzzword.
Fucking analytics. And it's like, all right, listen to me now. This is strategy. What I don't like in baseball, when you want to blame analytics and all that, perfect example, the Kevin Cash, Blake Snell decision last year in the World Series. I still think that feel has its place in baseball, but the numbers are what they are in certain situations. And I think teams are starting to notice pitchers, their third time through the lineup, it's just not feasible with most guys. I mean, there are definitely some guys that you can send them a third time through, no doubt.
Well, the quote unquote nerd argument to that is the feel can be quantified, meaning what would let you keep Blake Snell in there? Well, the fastball just looked really good. All right, let's go to the numbers. Well, you know what? You're right. Your eye is telling you the fastball looks good. It's because Blake Snell was, and I'm not saying this is fact at all. I'm just saying maybe Blake Snell's fastball was coming out 0.7 mile per hour hotter than on average that day. So you're right. The feel that you had for what you were seeing was actually quantifiable. So the nerds maybe could have made the decision to say, leave him in if they reference the numbers, but the feel could have told you to leave him in. But you see what I'm saying? How the feel.
And I'm sure that they have guys running those numbers up to them during.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question.
Yeah. I'm sure that they're like, hey, here are the spin rate numbers for this inning over inning, like velocity over average velocity, shit like that.
No.
But anyways,
one thing I did want to say before we move on from the Dodgers taking Game 5 was the work of Logan Webb.
Yeah,
Logan Webb has been unbelievable, just simply unbelievable. 0.61 ERA, 14 2/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 1 earned run, 17 punch outs in those 14 2/3 innings, 1 walk.
Mm-hmm.
Opponents hit under 200. They hit 173 against him, a whip of 0.68. He himself remains undefeated at home. The Giants are no longer undefeated in his home starts. But for a rookie to come in to this season, maybe with the lack of expectation, and could just continue to do what he's done, keep his head down, continue to deal, and pitch his team not only into this position, but the last 3 starts of his season were easily the 3 biggest starts of his career, and they just got better. Yeah. He just got better as the stakes got higher. So the web slinger, I mean, put some fucking respect on it. Put some respect on it. And my man, Brandon McCarthy, and we had talked about that, like, it's so cool watching that attack plan come back and be successful. And by that attack plan, the sinker slider guy, sinker slider, change up, sinker slider, because it's been high velo up top, 4-seam spin that thing, and then a hammer off it, slider off that. Like, let's go north and south. And now you've got guys in Logan Webb going east and west again, creating intersections, inner half, outer half, backdoor and guys, front hip and lefties. I mean, it was a master class from the young pupil. It was fucking phenomenal to watch. So tip of the cap to Webb Sling.
He definitely he's wise beyond his years, the maturity, the pose. He was sitting next to Cueto in the dugout, and you could hear them, like, I was reading their lips, and Cueto was complimenting something about one of his pitches because Webb said, "Thank you, Poppy." It sounded like that's what he said to Johnny Cueto. And Cueto's been there and done that. He's been in the postseason. People forget Cueto was the real deal for a little bit there. But for Logan Webb to go out there at home and feed off that crowd instead of let it kind of, like you talked about guys like overthrowing and the adrenaline, he didn't let any of that affect him. He fed off of it, sure, but the dude was outstanding. And if you didn't have to be a diehard baseball fan to sit there and watch Logan Webb and know that like this guy is the real fucking deal.
When the guy who they've dubbed Buster Hugs after, when Buster Posey is telling the media that things he's seeing are reminding him of the freak of Tim Lincecum, when he's reminded of the scouting reports and the conversations and then the success, and that's taking Buster Posey back in the hot tub time machine and remembering all the awesome shit that Timmy and Matt Cain were doing. And that's who this dude is right now, rookie year. That's a special compliment coming from a special backstop. So the Giants should be very excited between he and Duvall. And what's really cool is Webby said after the game, the first thing he did when he went into the clubhouse was hug Duvall.
Yeah.
Because that's the first run this dude's given up. Like that's quote unquote the worst he's pitched at the worst possible time. But the Giants probably aren't in that spot. Maybe they're playing in that game before the division series if Duvall's not that dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's great. Ultimately, I'm going to just throw these last few numbers at you. 2 for 23 with runners in scoring position in the losses were the San Francisco Giants. 3 for 24 overall.
Not good.
Not great. Not great at all.
No.
But what are you going to do, Jared? What are you going to do?
You're going to move on. That's what you're going to do. If you're the Dodgers, you're going to move on. And if you're the San Francisco Giants, you're going to look back fondly on a season that probably nobody saw coming. It wasn't one of those years where, like the Red Sox are having right now, where the Red Sox are in the American League Championship Series and they were projected to win 82 games. And there were a lot of people in spring training. They're like, no, this is a good team. Like you got Devers over here, you got Bogarts over there, you got JD, and like we'll go. That's a great middle like lineup. So why are we saying that this is not going to be a good team? With the Giants, I don't think that there was many of that. There was not a lot of, well, I see this, and this. So that's why I don't know why anyone's picking the Giants to be under 500, because we're going to win 107 games. No one was saying that. No one on the team was saying that. No one on the organization was saying that. And to their credit, when they were at the All-Star game and we were talking about the sustainability of the San Francisco Giants first half, I don't even think people were buying in then. Dallas.
No, I was an asshole. I took everybody's arrows for him. I mean, I can't tell you how many DMs silently and quietly, like, I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe they're doing
Nobody could. You were not on an island in the terms of, I can't believe that they're doing this.
No, I was just the only one that had the balls to say, like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
But around July is when you kind of have to ask yourself, is it sustainable? Will they be able to continue this through the remainder of the season? And that's where it started to get divided. Some people were like, yeah, no, they're for real. The Giants are for real. Give them their credit. Like, this is a team that's going to at least contend for a division title, which they ultimately ended up winning after a 107 win season. So all the credit in the world to the San Francisco Giants. I guess we'll see. I feel like after this year, I know better than to count this group out. We said earlier, you can't bank on guys like Posey and Crawford and Belt and Longoria having similar seasons to what they had in 2021. but I think that you would be misguided to just flat out say they can't do it, especially with Posey. I feel like you walk into a clubhouse and see a guy like Buster Posey standing there. It's like that means something. There's a standard there that even if you weren't part of 2010, 12, 14, or 21, if you're walking in that clubhouse for the first time next year, there is a standard there that elevates your game. And I think we saw that this year, and maybe it'll continue next year. I don't know.
I know Giants fans hope so. What it did for me, Jared, was that it made the decision to grab Logan Webb's rookie card that much easier. It made it that much easier. And I don't know where you're at on the sport card collecting tip. I mean, I know you've got a card here or there.
Mm-hmm.
Where you at on the stock market? Do you dabble? Jared? You got a portfolio?
I got a guy. Yeah, I got a guy that does it for me.
We can discuss. Well, does your guy know that baseball cards, not just baseball cards, sports cards, and sure, the top sports cards, but does he know that the top sports cards have actually outperformed the S&P 500 by over 400% since 2008? You think he knows that?
I think he bought up all of my Topps baseball cards, and that's basically stock now.
Well, I tell you, he's not the only one doing work for you, and he's not the only one who's on to the game. The game is collectible. Sports-loving investors are turning their passion into profits with who? The folks at Collectable. Until now, the most rare and historic sport cards have been far too expensive for most investors. That's where Collectable comes in. You really can't buy the whole damn thing. Like I've said before, are you buying Apple? No. Are you buying Apple stock? Sure. Just a share, a little slice, right? Make it your own, but you can't buy the whole goddamn apple. You ain't got that kind of bread. Maybe you do, in which case, why are you listening to us? But what you need to know about Collectable is it is the investing app where you can buy and trade shares of iconic sports collectibles, like I just mentioned, sometimes worth millions, all from just $5. So yeah, the 1952 Topps Mantle PSA to the sister card of the world's most expensive Mahomes rookie, Collectable gives you unprecedented access. And now they've partnered with us to prove it. They're giving away 178 free spots. If you're into card breaks, if you're into free shit, this is the deal for you. And you think it's just some kind of cardboard? Nay, folks. Over $24,000 worth of retail in the 3-sport break that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be breaking some of the most iconic wax ever live for Collectable. One pull could change your entire life. You pull a card that's got a couple commas in it after getting graded, buddy, you ain't going to work on Monday. You know what I'm saying? So what you need to do is go to barstool.collectable.com today, and that can enter you to win one of the 178 free spots in a 3-sport break worth over $24,000 at barstoolcollectable.com.
All righty. Dodgers, Braves running it back.
Quick reaction. Who do you got? Go. Ready, go. And then maybe we'll revisit at the end.
Yeah, we're going to have to revisit at the end.
I asked you. Quick. Let's go. Knee jerk. Come on.
Yeah, there's no knee jerk there. I don't do knee jerk.
Who are you going with? It's just easy?
No,
It's easy for you.
I didn't say that.
Braves fans are listening. Braves fans want to know, Jared.
No, I'm not. Do you have a pick ready to go?
Maybe.
What is it?
Well, I asked you.
I know you didn't. I'm saying I don't have one right now.
I asked you. Okay, well, then let's move on.
Well, what's your pick?
Whoa.
You said you have one.
I do.
Do you have a pick?
Maybe I do.
What's your pick?
I don't know. I think I'd like to discuss it first.
You'd like to discuss it first?
Yeah. I was just looking to see if you had a knee-jerk reaction.
I will say the knee-jerk reaction, without necessarily making a pick, is I like the Braves' chances better last year.
That is such a safe way to backhand Braves fans after
I'm
backhanding
I
them.
think Braves fans would agree.
In
It's
the
like, yeah, we
division
had fucking Ronald Acuna Jr. last year and Marcelo Ozuna.
There's no denying that they had a better team on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's
they haven't had either one of those dudes though, Jared.
But that's not saying the same thing. Saying that they had a better team last year is not the same thing as saying that they had a better chance, because now you're talking about the other team as well.
What other team?
The Dodgers.
What about them?
When you say that you like a team's chances, you're not just talking about that team. You're talking about the team that they're playing as well.
Right. And you said you liked their chances better last year.
Correct.
Yeah,
I did.
Which means
I was fucking I cannot believe that the Braves didn't win that series last year.
So if you like their odds better last year, and you've just made it very clear that they're not a better team, because I was trying to tell you that, hey, baseball is a game that when it's being played, how you're playing it at the moment really matters. Really matters. We don't need to tell Mr. Shildt about that, but it really matters. Like you rattling off some ball games and you're hot, that matters.
Yeah. Would you say that the Braves are hot right now, or would you say that they took care of business against a Brewers team that really fucking struggled at the end there?
I'm saying it's a combination of continuing to execute to the level that you have that has gotten you where you're at, and doing that in the face of your competition fucking themselves.
Yeah, like the Brewers, you have to look at it over samples. The Brewers had a better season than the Braves, yes, but the Braves finished stronger than the Brewers. The Brewers limped to the finish line. It was pretty much
the Devin Williams thing hurts.
Yeah, but once the Brewers in San Francisco, I think they took 3 out of 4 in San Francisco to move to 30 games above 500. That's when they just fell off. And that was the end of August, maybe, I want to say. It was whenever that series in San Francisco was, they were at the pinnacle of their season. And then from there, it was just all downhill. They finished like shit. They played like shit in the playoffs. They couldn't hit all year. It was not your prototypical Milwaukee Brewers team that could just mash you to death with half decent pitching. It was outstanding pitching that had a kind of a dog shit offense that God knows where that team would have been without Willie Adames showing up and his OPS going up 500 points from Tampa to Milwaukee. But yeah, I mean, it was a very bizarre Brewer season in general. But then you go in and you play the Atlanta Braves, who may not have had a better season than you, but they outplayed you in every facet of the fucking game. Like every facet of the game. Like the Atlanta Braves had timely hitting, a little thing that the Brewers didn't know anything about. Their starting pitching was great. Max Fried is going to go down as one of the best big game pitchers. Charlie Morton already has that distinction, and those are your first 2 horses out of the gate. And then fucking Freddie Freeman's a stud. What do you want me to say? He's an MVP. It's not a Mickey Mouse MVP. That's a legit MVP. Freddie Freeman is an MVP caliber player. And to turn Josh Hader's shit around
twice
in the 8th inning of a game that you can close out the NL Central Division champs. Yeah.
First lefty to ride him out twice. First lefty to bang a slider out. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that the Braves don't have a chance. I'm just saying that I liked their chances better last year. And having a 3-1 lead, I'm just going to count that as a win. They beat the Dodgers last year, in my opinion.
No.
Yep. It's my opinion. It can't be wrong. It's an opinion.
No, opinions can absolutely be wrong.
No,
that's why our world is the way it is.
No.
I don't know how we look like you can go starting
Braves
rotation.
in 6. Braves in 6. Let's go.
Oh,
the
that
Braves
just talk about pandering.
6.
I can see you
Braves
right now on the
6.
corner with your fucking fingertip
Charlie
gloves
Morton,
cut off,
Max Fried,
up,
Ian Anderson.
just begging.
This team, Dallas.
Take me back. Take
this
me back.
team, no. That's how I feel about it. And you know what? We've been talking about this Braves lineup fucking all year. They've yet to even fuck. They won a game because of Jocktober. It was his second pinch hit homer in the postseason. I mean, that was it. That's all that they needed for scoring. And then the Freddie Freeman homer was in the 8th inning to win by 1 run. This Braves lineup has yet to fuck, which means that Mount Fuck Olympus is about to erupt in the NLCS against the Dodgers. And that's what it's going to have to do.
It sounds like
have to do.
It sounds like you're pointing out a lack of offense.
The pitching, Dallas. The starting pitching of the Atlanta Braves, I have all the confidence in the world. Will Smith, I mean, down the stretch there and into the postseason, I trust him again. For a little bit over the summer, I did not. However, this Atlanta Braves team has what it takes to win this series in 6 games. I think, and you know what? Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if this take is out of line. But I think that the Dodgers had to empty the tank to beat the San Francisco Giants, because finally getting past the Giants, their NL West rival, that took more energy out of the Dodgers than if they played any other team in baseball. So now you're going to get an exhausted Dodger team who had to play late into October last year because they just won the World Series. So now they're tired. They exhausted themselves against the Giants.
This is disgusting to listen to.
They've got to go up against a well-rested Atlanta Braves team, because that team got their job done in 4 games. They didn't play past the NLCS last year. Braves in 6.
I want to apologize to the Braves fans that had to just listen to that and had to sit through that, because we know where that's coming from. And hey,
where is that coming from? That's coming from the heart.
It's
coming from the heart.
Coming from you wanting to be welcomed back into Braves territory. That's where it comes from.
I was never kicked out of Braves territory.
That's where it comes from.
Nope.
I understand. I understand you wanting to claw back in. Nope. I get it. You just gave him a backhanded compliment.
What's the backhanded
compliment? Can't even help yourself. Can't even help yourself. You're trying to talk positive about the team, and you're talking about the lackluster offense that Freddie Freeman barely was able to eke out a home run.
That's not what I said.
Barely put his team ahead. Very late in the ball game. Got lucky he ran into one.
I said that the Atlanta Braves were able to dismiss the NL Central champion Brewers in 4 games without even really fucking their lineup, which we talked about all year and last year. We said, oh, the Braves lineup fucks. The Braves lineup fucks. It hasn't even begun to put a condom on, Dallas.
It's because in your mind, they've got a chastity belt on. They're just not even doing it at all. That's what you said.
That's not what I said.
Look, you tip the cap to Max Fried. Best pitcher in baseball in the second half. What was his ERA? 1.4.
Sounds right.
Somewhere, just something ridiculous. Chuck Mo as well. Dominant over his last few postseason outings. Like there's nothing that tells you right off the bat that the Braves can't compete. Ian Anderson, kids like grown up in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
To the point you're making about the lineup and what they're capable of and what they haven't done. Don't know that you typically turn that on in the postseason. You'd like to see teams coming into this time of season swinging the bat well collectively, and maybe that hasn't been the case.
Well, think of it this way, Dallas, because to answer the question that a lot of Braves fans have been asking, at least I've seen a lot of this in the mentions. Why no love for Austin Riley in the NL MVP voting? Okay, or not voting, but conversation, because I think the voting probably happened by now, but we just don't know the results. There are other candidates more worthy of the National League MVP than Austin Riley. Fair. But that's a guy that could carry the Braves offense in a best of 7 series against the Dodgers. Wanting to see his impact and Adam Duvall, like the thump that the Braves have in the middle of their order that is yet to rear its head. I mean, obviously we saw the Freeman game winner, but once you start getting Duvall and Rosario and Riley, like those dudes, you get them going. That's when you get the 8-2 victories that the Braves have had over the course of the season.
Well, that's where you pray to God that you're trying to push start a vehicle downhill as opposed to uphill. Because you ever tried to push start a vehicle uphill, Jared? Pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
Really tough to do. But if you can get a little momentum going downhill, I like your odds. That's why I say the postseason, not necessarily a time where you see collective groups of guys turn it on. And especially when you're thinking about who you would be asking this group to turn it on against.
Yeah.
Because these aren't just some slapdicks, Jared.
No. You can make the case that the Dodgers are a good team.
It's been talked about. It's been thrown around. They're competitive. And when you get into matching up, like rotation wise, what do you like there?
Ooh.
You've got the 3 that we've talked about with the Braves.
I really
Max
do.
Fried, Ian Anderson.
I think we can all acknowledge that Max Fried is the better pitcher, but I like going Morton 1, Fried 2. I like having. I mean, you got to use them both twice, regardless. So I like going Morton 1, Fried 2.
Like I'm just thinking about matching up across the board, across the diamond, who you're starting, who I'm starting. And I don't think the Dodgers are mulling over a decision on whether or not to start Julio Urias in a game 5, should they find them, or in a game 7, should they find themselves in that spot, kind of like they were in this spot with the Giants. Like, I don't think that they're concerned.
No.
And
with Scherzer going an inning, so that's his bullpen day in game 5. How many pitches did he throw? So he would be good for game 3.
Yeah, what do we got? 2 days off? He's going to be fine. Their rotation is going to be fine. Everybody, well, like Buehler came back on short rest, but
Buehler went what, 3 days rest?
Yeah,
or 4?
3. I think 3.
Yeah.
Either way, they're going to be fine. The rotation's going to be fine. But yeah. I mean, dude, they just have like the bullpen matchups, Jared. I feel like the bullpen matchups are too much for the Atlanta Braves. What? I feel like should the Atlanta Braves not get the depth start and the quality start from Ian Anderson, from Max Fried. Let's say it's Charlie Morton, Max Fried, 1-2 out of the gate. And neither one of those guys.
Fried, the Braves named Max Fried for game 1.
Okay, so it's Max Fried, Charlie Morton. Let's say, and God forbid, just for good baseball purposes, but let's say Max Fried doesn't have the sparkler of an outing and they got to go to that bullpen a little early. All right. Because this is the thing about the Braves too. They've got guys down there that can get outs. Luke Jackson, Tyler Matzik, Smitty. All those dudes pitched in all 3 of those Braves victories. All of them pitched. So that's a clear-cut recipe, is get it to those 3 and go to work. Well, what if you can't? Now the bridge to those dudes looks a little shakier than I think the Dodgers bullpen bridge does. Because now we're talking about running out there. Who they got? Jesse Chavez? And I'm like, right? Isn't that?
Did they probably wouldn't have had to yet, but they didn't name their roster.
No,
I don't think so. They would probably, because they don't have game one until Saturday.
Because they've got Minter, AJ Minter, Jesse Chavez. Like, these are guys. Like, who are you taking, Jared? Joe Kelly, Jesse Chavez.
I'm taking the experience.
You're gonna run that out there? All right. Well, what if I could offer you a Bruised-Dart Gratterall? Would you take AJ Minter over him?
No, I would not.
Probably not.
No.
All right. Well, what if shit really starts to go south? And I told you I could offer you a guy by the name of Alex Vesia. You might be asking me who? You might be asking me to say his name again.
He's lefty, right?
Yeah, and he's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he came in game 4. I don't think he was. I think, what did he go, like 2/3 of an inning?
Yeah. So for as much conversation as you're going to have about the lineup for the Atlanta Braves and what they haven't done, when I tell you that they're staring down the barrel of a Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias with that bullpen, are you telling me that that's a group that you see them turning it around against?
I'm not going to rule it. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out. Like, I think it's going to be a good series. I think it's going to be a good series. It was a good series last year. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Braves are fucked or that, I mean, on paper, yes, everyone would tell you that the Dodgers have the better team. But is there a path for the Braves to win this series? Yes, there is. And it's on the backs of their starters. It's on the backs of guys like Morton and Fried and Anderson being able to shut down the Dodgers lineup.
The very reason that the Braves are here, they had to do what they did against the Brewers.
Yep.
And that's the only way
what the Giants did, but the Giants offense didn't come through.
I'll
say a 2-1 ball game. You hold the Dodgers to 2 games in a do or die clincher game 5. How many times do you think you can hold the Dodgers to 2 runs and lose? Well,
so to your point again, the arms that we're talking about, they gave up 0 runs to the Milwaukee Brewers twice. They shut the Brewers out twice out of those 3 games. And
well, the Brewers offense sucks.
What's that?
The Brewers offense sucks.
And Charlie Morton gave up 4 of the earned runs himself. So they've pitched well, but that Brewers offense is not the Dodgers offense.
Correct.
And that's why I will always give a team that's got 3 arms like the Braves have a fighting chance. Yeah. I will always give them a fighting chance.
Brewers fans were coming at me being like, when are you going to call out Christian Yelich for how poorly he's been at the plate? And I was like, I'm pretty sure the Brewers were bottom 5 team in offense this year. It's like, yeah, Yelich did not have a good year and he had a bad 2020. But the Brewers offense was not good overall. That's the franchise player. So naturally all the attention is going to go right to his doorstep. But you look around and that was just not a good offensive team. And that is a team historically known for its ability to slug. And they just did not do that this year.
So you've got the Braves in 6.
I've got the Braves in 6.
I'm going to take the Dodgers in 5.
In 5?
In 5. I truly believe the bullpen is going to be a massive separator. Like, yeah, I'm not telling you that Max Fried and those boys aren't going to get it done. That's not what I'm telling you at all.
That is what
I'm telling you that when this, like when the cracks break, it's going to be later in the ball game, and you're going to watch the Dodger bullpen stifle an offense that isn't just isn't going to have enough time to make up what the offense of the Dodgers can do.
Dallas, can I say this about your take right now? I think it stinks.
That's fine.
I think you are sleeping on a Braves lineup that's been sleeping. Like you look around that.
Okay. And you know what? And
itself.
if they fucking wake up in the NLCS, Jared, then
it's not like they've been sleeping for months. They just didn't have a huge offensive outburst of a series against the Brewers, but they still won the series in 4. They did enough to win the series in 4. But that lineup,
I mean, you've already slandered their inability to score a lot of runs, and you've already told us that they only got here because they beat.
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that the potential
team
is 1,000% there. It just hasn't happened. It didn't happen in the Brewers series, mostly because it didn't need to.
Well, and you said you didn't like their odds of getting it done against the Dodgers staff either. I mean,
that's not what I said. I said I just liked their chances better last year.
No, I know, but I asked you if you like their odds, and your response was no. So theoretically,
when did I say that? I didn't say that.
Sure. When I asked you, Jared, do you like their odds of turning things around against this staff? And said no.
I thought you meant like when a reliever gives up a homer, that's like, oh, he turned his shit around. I thought that's what you meant. I didn't know that you meant are they going to turn things around? Like I didn't like.
Yeah, is this, you got this offense turning it around against this group of names
I thought that you were asking
off?
me. I thought you were asking me like, do you like the Braves offense chances of turning Brusdar Gratterall's shit around? I was like, well, not really.
No, well, that's where I was just matching
like the
up
Braves
guys. Like,
chances?
who are you taking? Well, that's where I was taking. No, I think you understood the question because I gave
really
you,
didn't.
I gave you the other arms from the Braves side. I just threw arms out there that we would match up against.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to outslug them. I don't think that they're going to bludgeon the Dodgers. No, but do I think that the offense will be better? Yeah, I do. I think that I think it would greatly surprise me if Austin Riley did not play a big factor in this series. It would surprise me a lot, given what type of player he's been for 85% of this season. For him to not play a significant role in the outcome of this series, it would surprise me a lot.
I do just want to remind you that the Braves have the least amount of wins of any team to make the postseason.
Is that right?
I don't know. I think so. I think that's close. What they finished the regular season with? 90 wins?
I don't even think they had 90. Did they?
Well, if they didn't have 90 wins, then that's, no.
I don't think that matters.
No, it absolutely does not. This is me just throwing things out there.
I think that's semantics. You know what? This is why fans in the future need to. Yeah, they had 88 wins. Fans in the future, if Dallas ever tries to ride your coattails, don't let him. Whoa. Because he'll turn on you the second that you actually need him.
What are you trying to do here?
I see what
you're trying to do.
The coattails of the Atlanta Braves in the division series, and now that they're playing the Dodgers, who finally ended the season of the San Francisco Giants, who you hate and you had an axe to grind against all year, they finally got the job done and they beat the Giants. So now you're going to blow them in the NLCS when you were blowing the Braves in the division series, and now you're picking the Dodgers to dismiss the Atlanta Braves in 5 games, a disrespectful 5 games. You're throwing them a pity win.
No, it's almost like
Dallas, you know what?
If
you don't believe
pity win, they have to win.
Dallas, if you don't believe in the Braves, I want you to have the fucking balls to say that the Dodgers are going to sweep them. Say it. Because that's what you think of them. You keep they can't turn their shit around. Oh, the offense isn't going to pick it up. The bullpen is just going to overmatch them. They had the fewest wins of any team to make the playoffs. Just say it. If you think the Dodgers are so great and the Braves aren't, just have the fucking balls one time to predict a sweep in the postseason. Because I know that you've never done that because you want to have some wiggle room to be wrong. Be like, oh, well, at least I thought that they were going to win one game. Just say the Dodgers are going to sweep the fucking Braves. Say it.
I have too much respect.
Oh, please.
Too much respect for Braves fans. I have too much.
They don't respect you. They don't respect you anymore.
They sure do.
No, they don't. Not after this podcast. They don't. Not after this fucking podcast. You are done in Atlanta. I can't wait. I hope the fucking Braves go to the World Series so we can do a live show and they throw fucking tomatoes at you.
Oh, Jared, that would not happen. That would not happen because I was there.
They're going to get swept.
I was there for the Atlanta Braves when nobody else was. When they thought they had a friend, they realized they did not have a friend. No. What they found in me was not only an ally, but a warm, comfortable bosom.
A chameleon.
No.
Dallas
warm,
the chameleon.
Comfortable bosom, Jared. Nope. And they sidled up nicely, and I sidled up
because
as well.
even though I picked the Brewers,
I'm motorboating.
Even though I picked the Brewers in the division series, my Twitter account was a very friendly place for Braves fans to be. I was still getting excited for things that the Braves were doing. I was still highlighting all the great things that happened in that series. I was still rooting for them in a way that I was unbiased. I was absolutely unbiased. I was not pro Brewers. I was not pro Braves. I was pro baseball. And you are going to sit here and say that the Braves have no fucking shot to win this series. And you predicted a sweep.
I predicted a bullpen that would overmatch the Atlanta Braves, and I believe that offense of the Los Angeles Dodgers just could prove to be too much. Out.
Just not even going to give them a chance to win a game.
That's it.
Yeah, it just says a lot about you. I mean, if you say that the Dodgers are going to win in 5, you're indirectly saying that they have no shot. I mean, teams that lose a series in 5 have no shot to win a series.
I'm telling you that one of those boys is going to dial up a gem. Who? I don't know if it's Fried. I don't know if it's Anderson. I don't know if it's Morton. One of those dudes is going to throw a gem, though.
Yeah.
And the other two, they're going to throw the ball well. But when you hand it over late, do you have the ability to hold water? That's the question. That is the question. And I feel like the Dodger offense provides just that tsunami that's just too much.
Are they paying you
for the Braves bullpen to be able to bail?
That's my new conspiracy theory is that the Dodgers are paying you.
No, they'll be paying me at the end of the year. That's when they'll be paying me. I would love nothing more than for the Atlanta Braves for this to be a competitive series. It'd be great. It'd be great story for the Braves to move on through this series. But does the Braves without a Ronald Acuna Jr., does the Braves without a Mike Soroka, does that really get the needle going for baseball and baseball fans? Like, because we could throw the Braves into the ring there and you're going to be excited about what they've been able to do without the guys that you'd really want to see there. So that's like, okay, cool, you're here. Wish we had Roka. Wish we had Rock running around out there, but we don't. So,
so I got Braves in 6. Dallas has Dodgers in 4.
5. Dodgers in 5 is what I said.
Dodgers in 4.
5.
And I've got dugout mugs ready to go. If you're listening or you're watching on the YouTube channel right here, got my Red Sox dugout mug. It's fucking awesome. My mom's probably going to come over for the game, so I'm going to give her the dugout mug wine glass. And then for every time that the Red Sox give up a run, I have my dugout mugs shot glass right here.
Yes. I just put that thing to use.
It's in it's a baseball bat knob is the shot glass. They've got the beer mugs, the bottle openers, the wine glasses. They're giving away one of those shot glasses that I just showed you.
Really?
Holds 1 ounce of your favorite liquor in the handle of a baseball bat. It's really cool. They sell for usually $29, but right now you can get one delivered to your door for $8.95 at dugoutmugs.com/starting9. No one likes doing shots alone unless you're Dallas Braden. So grab a couple for you and your friends before they sell out, because they more than likely will now that it's the postseason and everyone's trying to run and grab baseball shit. Use the promo code starting9 to get 30% off MLB team dugout mugs, wine glasses, and bottle openers at dugoutmugs.com. The ALCS, 5 straight ALCSs for the Houston Astros. They did it without Justin Verlander. And now Dallas, they're going to have to do it without Lance McCullers. Ooh, that's a big blow to the Astros, a guy that is undoubtedly the ace of the staff. Super, like, his mental fortitude, super strong as well. Definitely not a colossal pussy. And he will be left off the ALCS roster, which is super unfortunate, because a guy like that you're going to want to have on your team if you're looking to advance to the World Series. He will be missing this series. And also, doesn't that mean if you miss, or is it they can put him on for the World Series, right? It's if you're on the roster and then have to come off with an injury, then you miss the next series. But because he was too hurt and so he's just going to miss it without even going on it to begin with. All right. He's probably going to miss the World Series. Yeah.
I can tell you're heartbroken.
It sucks. It sucks. I mean, a guy like that, you obviously hope for the best, and you want him to do well, and you want him to succeed. And
other people might. Other people might.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's a guy where it's like when he goes out there, you're just like, fuck yeah, throw another curveball, man. And then he does. But the Astros are going to have to make do without Lance McCullers, which, I mean, you look at a guy like Framber Valdez. He's not and people forget Framber Valdez has had some success in the postseason. He's had some success against the Boston Red Sox. So it's not like the Astros are like, damn, we don't have an ace, and now we're going to have to go to these other guys. Like, these other guys are pretty fucking good too in their own right.
But it hasn't been great for them.
I mean, Framber Valdez has had success. Luis Garcia, okay, whatever. But I think that Framber.
What Framber go? What do you do in Chicago? What, 4 1/3?
Yeah, it wasn't great. But what did he pitch? He pitched the clincher. He pitched the game that was officially the Twins' 17th consecutive postseason loss. I don't know if that's an accomplishment or not, but he's no stranger to the postseason. He's no stranger to pitching to the Boston Red Sox, and pitching well, I might add. So yes, while it does help the Red Sox to have McCullers off the ALCS roster, it's still no walk in the park. The Houston Astros have one of the best offenses in Major League Baseball. It is, as White Sox Dave found out, it is lengthy. When you have Maldonado with timely hits. Yeah, sure.
Take the over, like all of the overs. Thoughts on that?
For the whole series?
For the whole series. Just give me the overs. Like, I feel like there's gonna be some banging here.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like there's gonna be some banging, because Eovaldi could absolutely silence you. Eovaldi could also go up there and throw some shit, just not high enough up out of the zone, and be backing up bases. I think that this is going to be an offensive driven series. Big time. I
don't like how you brought up Eovaldi as your example here, but
well, because I think I'm working from the tip of the spear down in that rotation.
Chris Sale's game 1.
What I'm talking about, well, that's fine. He's game 1, but as far as guys that are giving you the best shot to win right now, like, let me ask you this. If everybody was on equal rest, all things being equal, if you were going to be starting in game 1, the guy who gave you the best opportunity to win game 1, is Chris Sale starting that ball game for you?
No.
So that's why I start with the Eovaldi, because after him, if things go south for him, you don't necessarily have that pillar to lean on right now that tells you, oh, we're going to be fine, because you know who we've got going game. Shit. It's Sale, who's kind of struggling right now. Eduardo, okay. Like the lefty.
Eddie was fucking nails against Tampa in the clincher in game 4. I love Eddie. And then I don't know.
But the Pavetta Houck, like what is that's why I said this becomes interesting, because Alex Cora is not afraid to pull a fucking string.
Yeah.
He's not afraid. And I respect like the idea of, you know what, fuck it. Tomorrow if I wake up tomorrow, we'll talk about tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that. But if you don't have the resources, you've got to really, really mind when and where these guys are getting used and to which extent. And it's almost like you have to be comfortable making a decision that says, with where we're at in the ball game now, if we're down, I just really hope our offense can start to punch back, because I don't know that I want to run this guy or that guy out there right now on the minus side of things.
Yeah. The thing about Alex Cora and the way that he manages baseball games is that every scenario that could be thought of in detail, like if we get here, what do we do? It's already been thought of before it happens.
That's the only way to do it. The contingencies, man, you have to know.
Yeah.
Like, that's why, like chess is such a great game. You're not only thinking about your moves 3-4 steps ahead,
but
he's thinking about what your opponent can do, what your opponent cannot do, and what your movement does.
Yeah. Cora will never be caught in a situation where he's thinking about what to do as he's faced with the decision. He's going to be faced with the decision knowing that we've already thought this out. And not only have we thought this out, but we've got options. Like, we could do this, we could do that. And
what I was going to say is, you're not searching for answers, you're sifting through options.
Correct. Yes.
Those are very different.
Even just something as minimal as in the clincher of game 4, Christian Vasquez got a base hit, and now he represents the winning run in a 5-5 ball game in the 9th.
Pinch run.
And then he gets to second base, and everyone's like,
looking at Alex.
Pinch run. Are you gonna pinch run for this guy? No, what the fuck? Now you get a bunt situation. Now he's at third base, and now you get the pinch runner, and everyone's like, well, why didn't you pinch run for him when he was at second in scoring position? It's like, well, because we were warming up Adam Ottavino. And if Adam Ottavino is warming up, well, we want Vasquez to catch him. So we wanted to really be sure that we're going to fucking win this ball game right now, so that who's catching and who's pitching doesn't matter. So it's just simple shit like that is just always going on in his mind, which I think is a huge strength for the Red Sox in the series. And I think the offenses are 1A and 1B. They're both very good. And they're just the Astros. The Astros are the best team that the Red Sox would have to face the rest of the way.
The Astros are the best team?
Yep.
What you mean until the World Series?
No, I think the Astros are the best team from like top to bottom, lineup, bullpen.
Well, that's just not true. That's not true because of Lance McCullers being gone. Like, that starting rotation for Houston, like, don't like, where are you going? Lance McCullers is shelved. Zach Greinke's kicking around in the fucking bullpen. Now you're telling me that Framber Valdez and Jose Urquidy and Luis Garcia are comparable to not a Blake Trinan, but comparable to a Max Scherzer, to a fucking Walker Buehler, and the answer for me is no. And then you start to work through that bullpen like I've done time and time again. The answer's not even close. And then you go through that lineup, and if you're putting Red Sox and Astros at 1A and 1B, where do the Dodgers slot in to that conversation for you? And if you factor all of that in, the Astros are not the team that walks away giving you the best feeling about who the best team is. Not for me, anyway.
Without McCullers, Yeah.
Greinke in the bullpen. Like, don't just overlook that. Greinke's in the bullpen because he's not carving people up. He's in the bullpen because he's not carving people up.
Greinke's not what he was.
So, like, I don't look at the Astros like that big. Like, I'm telling you right now. Like, and for the Dodgers, because the one thing that hasn't been talked about all season long, and I understand it, I get it, but you have to acknowledge it at some point in time. The Dodgers did this without the defending Cy Young winner that was going to be a part of their rotation. Like, they've had to find ways or had to find a way to plug a very large void when you think about it. And it's like, oh, well, the Dodgers just replaced a Cy Young Award winner. No big deal. And I understand not wanting to talk about it, but you got to acknowledge what they've done, how they've been able to do that. Like, you take a fucking Cy Young Award winner away from, that'd be like taking Logan Webb away from the San Francisco Giants. How's that working out for you?
Well, you take Logan Webb away from the Giants, and they don't have Walker Buehler and Max Scherzer. I know Clayton Kershaw is out and he's going to be out, but
Walker Buehler doesn't have a Cy Young under his belt.
No, but I pick him every year, so that's basically the same thing.
Hey, he was my guy this year, man.
Yeah, like I feel like the Dodgers losing a Bauer and a Kershaw, like the Dodgers are
like they lost the Cy Young defender and the best left-handed arm of our generation,
and they still have Scherzer and Buehler and Arias at 20. Like the Dodgers are the only team in baseball that could lose two guys like that, and no one fucking feels bad for them or cares or notices because it doesn't matter. Because like no one feels bad for you, dude. Like you've got arms, like you're fine. And they're not just arms. They're like Walker Buehler is a guy that we pick every year to win his first Cy Young. Max Scherzer has multiple and could win another this year. And then you have Arias, who is a 20-game winner and is also in the conversation for Cy Young this year. Like you're fine. You're fine. No one feels bad for you that you lost Bauer and Kershaw.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah, after winning the World Series last year, Mickey Mouse or not. So, who do you have? Red Sox, Astros?
I like the Red Sox.
You do?
I like the Red Sox.
Do you?
I do. I like the Red Sox. I like the Red Sox because, again, I want to believe that Alex Cora is going to press the right buttons. Like, I feel like Dusty gets put in a very compromised situation early on if things don't go well for Framber early on, because that's going to put a lot of pressure. Like, the Red Sox could really put themselves in a solid position if Framber can't get through 4 innings.
Okay.
Because now you're exposing that bullpen. Now you're exposing that bullpen.
How many games, pussy?
I mean, I could see this series going 7 games.
Oh, boy.
Just because I don't feel like any one side is going to really put a stranglehold on the other's offense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's going to be – I feel like this is that asshole kid in the neighborhood who's holding on to the firecracker as long as possible. And at the end, it's just going to blow up. There's going to be a fucking mess everywhere.
So you've got Red Sox in 7.
I was going to say 6, but I'm here for madness.
The official pick is Sox in 6.
Because I'm trying. Like, I just want 2 minutes to talk about this.
Okay.
It's hurt. I get that it doesn't feel good, but uncle on the dropping the bat and acting like and walking up to the bat like your arm was just amputated with no anesthetic. Like,
wow, rooting for an injury. That's mocking an injury and just not having any sympathy for an injury.
Shut your fucking mouth.
That is
No,
that is beneath you. As a guy who had his playing career ended by injury, this is disgusting that you're doing this.
If you would let me finish.
Yeah. Remember where you came from, Dallas.
I want that. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep banging baseballs. But come on.
He's trying, but he's hurt.
Oh, it just, we all know it hurts. We all know it hurts. We all know it hurts a lot.
It hurts a lot.
I know, but
and you don't care.
Oh, I do.
Clearly not.
I'm riding this kid to the World Series.
You wanted to carve out time to injury shame one of the best young players in this game.
I'm not injury shaming him.
Yeah.
I'm saying
not how it's coming off.
Like there's swings, like he'll take a full on grown ass man hack.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And then he'll take a swing and it's like,
He's trying to tough it out, Dallas. For you. It's for your entertainment. He is a gladiator in an arena.
I'm just trying
he is going to battle for you.
What pitch was it? You know what I'm talking about? Where he
entertainment.
He fucking threw the bat.
I know what you're talking about.
Because being honestly, or just being serious for a minute, when it happened, I was like, no, fuck, really? I was like, is that it? That's it? Like, that's the one. Now he's done. Like, the kid has been a fucking hero. The kid has been, again, grinding his balls off through this. And did that just happen? And then it's like, well, he went and picked it up and then he fucking hit a homer. And I was like, wait a minute. What's going on? Am I getting sandbagged here?
So you're basically saying that this miracle of life is somehow a negative. You're looking at a man who's hobbling to the plate, who's barely able to swing a bat, who continuously keeps hitting home runs.
Hobbling? His fucking elbow is a long way away from his feet.
In the postseason.
Hobbling.
And you're shaming him.
Is Devers walking up to the plate doing a fucking handstand?
I mean, we've all been there where something hurts so badly that it feels like you're going to throw up. And that's where he's at right now. So he was hobbling to the plate. And you're out there being like, all right, dude, we get it. Yeah, your fucking arm's about to fall off. We get it. It's insensitive.
It was the bat. It was the fucking bat throw and then the homer. I felt like I was being lied to.
That's just it. It really is.
I want him to swing with one arm. Just swing with one arm.
He has been.
Just swing with one arm, but one hand on the bat.
It's October, Dallas.
He will go up there in a sling.
That means three things: playoff baseball, obviously, Halloween, and Gosling's rum, dark and stormy cocktails to help you celebrate. Gosling's rum is giving away the ultimate 21 plus only Halloween basket, bursting with everything that you need to party properly. Head on over to goslingsrum.com to enter. And don't forget to stock up on plenty of Gosling's rum delivered right to your door by reservebar.com. And here's the deal. You can receive $15 off your Gosling's rum order on reservebar.com with the promo code BARSTOOL. Play a little pepper before we get the fuck out of here. First things first. Mike Shildt fired yesterday. What was it? Fucking Thursday. I said it was surprising and not surprising at the same time. I thought the detail that the Cardinals requested to do it on this day of all days, like they were like, we need to announce this immediately. I thought that was weird, but it was surprising because they won 17 straight games and they made the wild card game, and a couple bounces go your way, and next thing you know, you're in the division series, whatever. You're playing the Giants. Who knows what happens in that series? However, that didn't happen. They get eliminated in the wild card game. And I think if the Cardinals are just up front, which is kind of what they were, they said, Shildt was surprised and caught off guard by the decision. But if they want to go in a different direction, they're more than entitled to do that. It's their organization. It's the same thing in a relationship where it's like, all right, yeah, like I'm dating someone and she's super nice. Like she helps out around the house. She's nice to me. My family loves her. Well, guess what? Like I don't Like, I just don't see a future with her. Do I have to stay with her because my mom likes her and she's really nice and she helps out around the house? No, I don't. If I want to go in a different direction, I'm more than entitled to do that.
Well, it kind of depends on what religion you are, I think.
Yeah, I guess. If you go to if you practice at the Church of Heim Bloom, you dump that girl. You dump her because it's like, hey, I don't like. There's just not. You're not going in the direction that I want to go in here, so I can make that call. However, the St. Louis Cardinals are telling you the same thing. We want to go in a different direction. You got us to the playoffs, great, but we want to do like we're butting heads here.
Is it fair to say, like, if you're in a spot where it might take a 17 or 18 game winning streak to keep your job and it happens, is it still okay to allow that excitement to taper off and take a step back and look at it and go, that was an incredible moment. That was an incredible run. A wonderful month for the club. Got us into the wild card spot. But it took that run to get us just to that point right there. And we as a unit were thinking along the entire way how great this is, but we still believe that things should be done this way or in this, because what people are hung up on is the explanation, the philosophical differences. Because that's like you telling the girl who helps out around the house that your mom loves that it's not her, it's you, but you don't elaborate. She's like, okay, so what does that mean? You're what? Just an asshole? You're what are you? What do you mean it's you? What about you? So what's the philosophical difference here? You want to win a World Series? So do I. Sounds like we're on the same page. How do you want to do that? Score more runs than the other team, not allowing them to score as many as you? I feel like we agree there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's just about, and again, that A word, the buzzword, analytics, depending on how those are implemented and how those conversations work themselves in that organization, that's really the only conversation I think that has to be had, or that needs to be had, that is had.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for the postseason. I'm excited for the league championship series, Dallas. I'm excited for, I mean, your St. Louis Cardinals are, I don't know which direction that they go in, but it certainly feels, even though Aaron Boone, a decision hasn't even been made yet on Aaron Boone. I know that Phil Nevin's out and Marcus Thames is out. I think what the last update that we got there was that they're waiting to see if he's cool with a coaching staff that they pick versus his guys before they see if Booney's going to stay or not. But it just seems like the field of, like, when Jace Tingler got fired and now you've got Mike Shildt is out and Booney we still haven't heard about, but the field of available managers seems to be trending towards old school guys as replacements. Who do you see as someone that the St. Louis Cardinals might identify as the man to lead this team back to the promised land?
When you say old school guys, what do you mean? Like, I mean,
like Buck Showalters and Bruce Bochy's, like those guys keep getting, I've seen them on like the Vegas odds for the most likely candidates to be the next Yankee manager.
Well, like, I mean, the Bochy San Diego Sando is, I mean, it damn near makes itself, does it not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Buck Showalter back to the Bronx.
I don't know if that would work.
No, it definitely wouldn't, but it would be funny to watch them try. Say A-Rod has the third best odds to manage the Yankees next year, which I could also not see happening. Either there's no chance that it would happen or there's no chance that it would work out. It would be a goddamn circus if that were a thing, but I don't see him wanting that job.
Oh, I mean, I could absolutely, like, you're being given the most, like one of the sexiest jobs in baseball, like the skipper of the New York Yankees.
Oh my God, that is the least sexy job in baseball.
What?
Put it this way.
Like, as far, no. Just listen to who we're talking about and listen to what comes with that. And that's where I need you to start and stop. Who are we talking about?
What comes with that?
What? The limelight, the attention,
the scrutiny, the hatred, the things that he just spent the last 5 years trying to reverse, and finally got to a place where it feels like it has been a little bit with the relationship with J-Lo and then the media jobs and all that. People are starting to forget about all the bad stuff. And now you want to take over a team that is floundering, where when they don't perform, you are the first guy in line. You are the guy that all the fans that you built up this goodwill with are going to be like, fuck you, fire this guy, get him out of here. Like, look at Aaron Boone. Perfect example. Like, did not have a Hall of Fame career, did not have a career that's like, oh my God, wow, this was amazing. He hit one home run, and I love him to death. He hit one home run. That's how he got the job. And he could have spent the rest of his life being able to walk down the streets of New York and people would be bowing in front of him. And now, if they were to fire him today, people would be like, fuck him, like, get him out of here. What a bum. You like didn't win shit as a manager. Like, why? If you built up goodwill with a fan base, one of the biggest and most prominent franchises in professional sports, and they love you, or at least some Yankee fans, it's obviously it was different for Aaron Boone before he took this job versus A-Rod now. But if you have any fans that love you and you're Alex Rodriguez, why would you do anything to compromise that? You don't need the money.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Like, you have attention. Like, all A-Rod needs to do is step outside and he gets attention. Like, it's not like he's in danger of becoming irrelevant. He's still very much relevant. He doesn't need that job.
No, whether he needs it or not, for everything did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense. That's why he would take it, because it doesn't make sense. Like, the ego is too real with that dude. Like, he could have listened to everything you just said, and all the while, what he's hearing is, but if you win there,
you'll be a legend, Alex.
But if you win there, and why wouldn't he?
Why wouldn't he win?
Well, no. Why wouldn't you want to take
the job?
Because, I don't know.
I don't think he'd want to be back, and I don't think he would want to be back in New York full time. I was at his house in Miami, and I don't know if I'm gonna want to be like, you know what, I want to spend less time here. It was a pretty baller house, and I'm sure he's living the dream, just flying out on Sundays to do Sunday night baseball, and in the postseason, you fly to LA and you stay in LA for a few weeks to do postseason coverage. And then the rest of the time you live in your bunker in Miami. Why not?
Just say this. If it was scrutiny he was worried about, I don't think he'd be doing Sunday night baseball either.
Yeah, that's true. I think it keeps him relevant, though.
And what would being the manager of the New York Yankees do for you every day of the week, even on Sunday, Jared?
But I think no one likes national broadcasters.
No one normal.
Yeah, no one likes every national broadcaster gets shit on. Like, Joe Buck is amazing, and everyone fucking shits on Joe Buck. And it's not a.
These are very different.
There are those are very different managers in baseball who are beloved by their fan bases, and it might just be Bomel and Cora. Like, what other manager like?
Well, Bomel has his detractors. There are people that have soured
after 1 year of not making the playoffs.
It doesn't mean they're right.
Like, what other fan base loves their manager, and he could do no wrong.
I don't really know that there is one. I mean, Bochy was that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tito in Cleveland.
Yeah. But well, I want to take the time, Jared, before we get out of here, to acknowledge a a man who meant the world to me, a man who meant a ton to me, to the people that we worked with. My partner, Glenn Kuiper, who worked with Ray Fosse for 18 years. Ray Fosse, a world champion with the Oakland Athletics, Gold Glover, Hall of Famer in the hearts of many A's fans. And I'm not talking Hall of Famer in the major leagues. I'm just talking about a Hall of Fame human being and a Hall of Fame player in our organization, the Oakland A's. When you come into a situation like I came into with a guy of Ray Fosse's status, you know that you're not filling anybody's shoes. You're merely keeping a seat warm. And for him to open up his mind and his heart to me the way he did, knowing that that hadn't been the case for others that had come along, and for him to share the things he shared with me, made me feel like it made me feel like I was the coolest dude on the planet and the most important dude on the planet. Foss had a little office in the press box, and we would before the game, we'd go in there and he'd just tell me stories, talking to him about crazy games that he played in, that he called, just stories from other guys. A couple times Jim Palmer came in there with us, and you ever wonder what it's like being brought behind the curtain? Like, Jared, the only way I think I could compare it for you is like you're at WrestleMania, or you're at some cool fucking awesome show like that, and you're brought backstage, and now you're playing cards with them. You're drinking beer with them. You're what's unfolding out there, but you're here before it's happening. You're actually making the magic that's about to get dropped on everybody out there. And that's what it was like to sit down in that office with him before every game, and to be down on the field with him before every game, and to go over some of his notes. Like, I was looking at notebooks in the fucking 80s and 90s, scorecards, and like the history of the game being given to me, being translated, like just baby birded to me at times, and just to know what it took for him to do that, because it's not easy. And he let me know it's not easy to groom somebody or be the mentor for somebody who you could think eventually replace you. And like I said, I could never replace Ray Fosse. Never, ever replace that man. Being able to work alongside him has been one of the most special things that the game of baseball has ever given me. And Ray, I love you, big dog. We go.